Hey guys, Atlantean Vampyre here. So this is a short video. I pretty much have all of the Astral Vampirism 101 videos in a playlist. You know, it's public. You can look at it if were bothered by me unlisting those videos. There you go. I'm gonna add more playlist. And divide them into subcategories because there's political stuff I've talked about on this channel that isn't politically relevant, or sorry, vampirically relevant. Yeah. And stuff on natural philosophy that kind of intersects with vampirism, but also intersects with politics. There's just quite a few videos, and for a new arrival on this channel, I don't want you to just go through my videos and be like, ooh, this has nothing to do with anything. I quite frankly don't want to watch this. Oh, look at this, so whatever you would have subscribed to this channel for, there is going to be a playlist for that. And whatever other reasons you subscribe to this channel, there'll be a playlist for that, right? I also was thinking of a video to get back to basics on vampirism, very explicit video, a little TMI, about astral vampirism and sex, which, get into the whole sexuality part, but I mean sex as in male and female, and astral vampire spiritual biology, as opposed to physical biology, even though there is weird overlap, right? But, kind of a birds and the bees of vampirism, because there are different breeds of us that have chakras that don't work and chakras that do work. And I kind of wanted to get into the chakra science of it, if that makes sense. Yeah. But those other playlists aren't up yet, but they will be soon. Give me some time. But yeah, I'm going to work on this Vampyre video that I thought of. But, this way, how do I put it? There are people that, really hate my kind, that wish violence and ill will upon us. And, I mean, fuck them. But, yeah, fuck them. But, just, I'm not afraid at this moment of, talking about this in the public, right? It's just, I don't know, like, again, there's some, well, actually, that's a lie. I am kind of afraid. Just because I know what it's like to have violence done against me, and almost having this incarnation end abruptly. I don't know. It's, again, I'm not worried about, like, the whole, oh, I'm going to lose my job talking about such politics. They're going to look me up and see this. No. I'm more worried about, like, what happens if certain people I know see these videos of me talking about vampirism specifically, and they're like, huh. Is there some people that think I'm a Bible-thumping Christian, and I've really, really put on a show? And it's not because I like lying or deceiving, but it is for my personal safety, because some of these people I know, if you were to, be anyone else, they're cool people and they treat you like cool people. If they knew that you were a vampire, a lot of bad things would happen, right? If that makes sense. I'm trying to be vague, keeping my personal life, personal. But yeah, I guess I just don't feel comfortable, having every video unlisted, This way, if it's on a playlist, you can find what you're looking for. And also, again, there is, how do I put it, this elitism of mine, where it's like those that, not like there's, I was going to say those that seek the truth. No, everyone seeks the truth, or at least thinks they do. But those that seek the truth and are worthy of it will find it. As in, they'll find the playlist, right? But then there are just some people that are, in the words of a friend of mine who is not an astral vampire, who is elemental, who is connected to source, who views pretty much most humans as meat bags, in his view, meat bags hurting himself, or well, in his view of the terminology, right? That most people are meat bags, not that he thinks that they're unworthy. But yeah, I don't know. He did a similar playlist thing, and I remember him voicing concerns about being concerned about people using his content, and accidentally hurting themselves. And I'm about the same, because like some of the stuff I teach, I'm like, I don't really want some common schmuck to know about certain vampiric practices. Like all of the good stuff, I don't think I'm going to post on YouTube. There's like certain things to where it's like, even if it's on a playlist, all it takes is a man child to learn some of this stuff and then use it in a very bad way. As I say in this channel, be not worried about the astral vampire, be worried about the sympathetic vampire, right? Because when there's ambition behind such things, well, everyone's ambitions tend to be subjective, right? So I guess I'm just worried more so about people using my information to hurt other people. That's, because, and plus all the stuff I say, most of it at least, is already known to those amongst my kind. They know it kind of innately, instinctually. They don't even, like, if anything, my videos could be used as a way to put what is felt into words. But even then, a lot of it's already kind of internalized. And yeah, like if you're a stripling, as I call them, a young child that is one of us, and you wake up at a young age, you already have a deeper privilege. You already have an innate knowledge that the highest level of sympathetic vampire cannot learn without being what you are. Like there are certain things that, like, sympathetic vampires, like D.H. Thorne, very knowledgeable man. And when it comes to anything else in the occult, I heed a lot of his advice and wisdom, right? But his book, The Infernal Vampire, a lot of interesting sympathetic vampirism methods and things like that. He knows a lot about vampirism. He's a cool dude. But I will say, like, a 12-year-old that is the psychic vampire or astral vampire, that 12-year-old wakes up, realizes what they are, automatically, right off the bat, they know a lot more than D.H. Thorne. Just as how, like, it's the divide between someone wearing scuba gear and just having the innate knowledge of what breathing oxygen through ocean water is when it goes through your gills, if that makes sense. It's not to sound arrogant or snarky, but, if I'm to be making videos for more of my kind, the point, I think, can be rendered rather redundant, if that makes sense. And again, I've had people of my kind message me and be like, hey, I get what you're trying to do, but we thrive on absurdity and obscurity. That's how we're not literally hunted and killed. And I was never, I'm not sure if I want to bring up this example of what the gravity of the situation is for astral vampires. So I'll be vague. I think I've only told a few people this that weren't astral vampire. Just where my concerns are. I knew of, I'm friends with him. I know him. I know someone that in a non-specific state, beneath the Bible Belt, where you'd be surprised the superstition of the undead and evil can be just as strong as old world culture in Eastern Europe. Basically, he, like me, can smell other of our kind, right? He was a Boy Scouts leader, right? And how do I put this? Specifically in his state, would find young children that were of our kind. And, and again, the logistics, I love it. He would recruit them into the troop, right? He had a lot of connections, good reputation, right? But yeah, he'd spot these kids before they realized what they were. And he created a little, you could say, coven inside this troop. And yeah, he recruited these striplings, and they had their awakening because of him, and he taught them magic that I don't think I would ever teach someone that isn't one of our kind. And, as a result of his investment in these kids and the extracurricular activities, like they would go into the forest and they would hunt animals and they would drink their blood, things like that. People start asking questions. There's an intuition, a parental intuition, communal intuition, and we don't exactly, no matter how subtle we are, no matter how much we master this art of the espionage of living, there's always going to be those that are not our kind, that just, they know there's something up, and there were people that were they suspected the worst, and given that it's a Boy Scout troop, the long history of, troop leaders raping young boys, you can see where I'm going with this. Basically, this is so fucking difficult to talk about. Given the state, the culture, the religiosity, things like that, he couldn't exactly reveal to everyone what him and these young boys were doing, because if their parents found out, right, there's a few things that would happen. Best case scenario, they're sent away to a mental facility. Middle case scenario, they're severely beaten and always, like, their parents never look at them the same. Or worst case scenario, this is a state where it's likely that the parents, in their superstitions and their just a lot of different circumstance, would realize, oh yeah, my child is actually one of these things. And they would more than likely have their child killed. Yes, people think that the Middle East is uncivilized and that there's all these superstitions about jinn, and, it's crazy that they, kill witches and all that it's still a thing there. And it's like, it's still a thing in the Deep South, bro. That Salem, Massachusetts mentality never quite died out, and it's way worse for vampires. But yeah, there were police involved, investigations, upset parents that just, things weren't, right. Like these kids are stupid, can't cover their tracks that well. Eventually being realized, these camping trips where they're going into the middle of the woods, and just like a lot of things that where it's normal to us, but it would just give off a billion red flags. Anyways, there was enough evidence compiled against him that there was some type of conspiracy. There was something else going on other than, Boy Scouts, right? There was something going on with this troop, and there was something nefarious at work. So, he knew that there was no really escaping this situation. He did his best. These kids did their best. So he confessed. He confessed to raping every single boy in his troop, being an Epstein, satanically, ritualistically abusing these kids, sodomy, which, again, most people will look at anything vampiric related from our kind, and what we do out of context, they immediately think pedophilia. So again, that is an advantage in this situation, right? Because that's the first thing they're going to go to. Oh, okay, yeah, wow, I'm surprised he came clean, because no, more than likely, if the alternative was revealed, these parents would probably kill their kids, and the police would be in on it, and they would cover it up. And and these kids, knowing that he basically saved their lives, went on to have everyone think that they were a molestation victim in the Boy Scouts, right? Yeah. And I gotta say, like, in certain areas, it's better to think that some old guy raped you in the butthole than it is for people to realize that you're a vampire, because even if that's not real to you, it's very real to some people. Some people that would probably shoot their kid, stab their kid in the chest because they don't know what a spiritual vampire is versus, a mythical vampire, right? And they probably believe in the mythical vampire, so they'd probably have their kid stabbed in the chest with a fence post. These kids, now guys, kind of grew up and they have their own families now, and I don't know them personally. I still know the dude. He went to prison. Again, is on the sex offender registry, and put in the same situation. If I had striplings, young, awakened, to look after, to take care of, to mentor, and I was put in such a situation, I'd be like, oh yeah, I raped every single one of them. I would rather be put on the sex offender registry than have anyone know that any of my apprentices were, that they are spiritual vampires. I'd rather, no, absolutely. And again, you might think that's actually a pretty bold sacrifice. Not really, because, he hasn't killed himself yet. I don't know what he's doing, if he's trying to wait it out, see if he can salvage something from this life. But death is not the same to us as it is to other people. If he unalives himself, it's fine. He basically is the same person in the next life with a completely clean slate. And that piece of shit, that horrible piece of shit pedophile that killed himself. Well, at least he's gone. Yeah, not really. He still walks amongst you. But yeah, and it's funny too, because I have came across astral vampires that were underage. As like I was like 21 years old, and with that kind of fear in my mind, I just wanted to approach them and just like be like, hey, you have no idea what you are, and tell them. But also talking to other people's kids is weird, unless yeah. And it's like, again, I guess this is the vampiric equivalent of wanting to be a Dumbledore, right? But I've always wanted to teach, young, unawakened. I've always wanted to do the same thing my friend did. And also, like, in more liberal areas, I suppose I could probably get away with it under certain circumstances. But I am not at that point in my life. And no, it's, like, if you're a superstitious parent in the Deep South and you find out that your child was doing rituals involving drinking animal blood, eating raw flesh, and wearing pelts, and doing vampiric chants and talking to the dead, and you're like really hardcore fucking like theocratic, and you have a kind of a violent alcoholic streak, just, you can imagine, right? But yeah, no, under such circumstances, again, I kind of hate my own kind a bit. because we compete over feeding space. Yeah, but you know, this channel is in the interest of helping my kind from a distance, and yeah, no, I wouldn't expect to like live in a cult compound with my apprentices for the rest of my life. I think I'd rather hang myself. But yeah, no, the amount of times in this town where I live, where I've came across a young child that is one of our kind, the amount of times I've had to fight just to be like, yep, no, no, he'll figure it out. I hope. I hope he figures it out, or she'll figure it out. You know, again, it's the same thing. If it's like a young girl, it's like I'm not gonna talk to, you know, someone's little girl about uh, predatory spirituality. That's just you know, you wish you could, but you can't. You know, it's just like you kind of want to just like be like, all right, here's how you ride a bike, kick off the training wheels, and like push them as far away from you as possible, and watch them enjoy this incarnation. It's not easy, but the point is, there are with that story in mind, there are reasons I would rather not just have my videos just there, if that makes sense.